Okay, YouTube, this is a video on replacing the seals in a single acting, in this case, spring return Enerpac cylinder. This is a 50-ton cylinder. So basically we have the rod here, and we've got all the component pieces down inside this thing. And if you've attempted to do this, you probably ran into some problems that I had, and then it's kind of a puzzle how to do this. But first thing is you've got to remove the brass ring here, and that's going to require a spanner wrench. If you don't have a spanner wrench, I got around it by putting some drill bits in upside down on both sides and clamping some metal together with a C-clamp and then using that to turn it. So once the brass ring is off, you're going to go ahead and start working on this rod. So you've got these two Allen screws that you're going to have to take out here, and that's going to remove this top plate. I'm not going to go through the whole disassembly because I don't think it's really necessary. It's more just talking about how to do it. That's going to be the main thing here. So under this plate, you're going to find a cap nut, okay? And if you attempt to take the cap nut off, this rod will probably turn. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to put an impact, get a thin wall socket, get it down on the cap nut, and just give it a blast with the impact, and that should spin it fast enough that the rod can't move fast enough to keep up, and it'll break free. So under the cap nut, you're going to see a rod. And on the top of that rod is going to be a small slit for and this is the key to this whole thing, is a regular screwdriver. So you're going to put a regular screwdriver into that rod. Now, there is a spring inside of here. And if you look around this thing, you're not going to know how this spring is connected or anything like this. So basically, this rod, you're not going to want to take it out. You're actually going to want to drive it down, because what that's going to do is it's going to release the spring. By driving the rod down, the spring is under tension. So you're going to want to close that gap and let that spring come back in. Now, the key is you got to take this thing off, because inside of here, you're going to be able to see there's a roll pin. And that's what's holding the bottom of the spring. But you're not going to be able to pull that roll pin until that spring is completely not under tension. So you're going to drive this rod down to the point where you can pull the roll pin. Then once you pull the roll pin, you'll be able to pull this whole assembly up and out. Then your seal kit is going to contain the main seal, a retaining clip, and that's pretty much what you're going to be replacing. Then to get it back down in the hole, you'll probably have to grease the retaining, main seal, retaining pin area, to be able to get this thing to go back down. Now your kit's also going to have the wiper, which is the little one that fits into this brass. Oh, by the way, when you pull this rod out, be careful, because there's two brass spacers, two half circles, one on either side. And those will go flying, and you don't want to damage those. So when you pull this rod out, be careful of those brass spacers. Anyway, you'll put the new wiper on. You'll put everything back together. Also, your seal kit will have, where that cap nut was, it'll have a copper washer. And you'll have to put that on, and that'll help seal the hydraulic fluid from coming up. And you should be able to put this back together. And that's that.